Hi, I'm Sasha. I am a graduate student with the Center for Healthy Minds, and for the Kindness Challenge, I'm sharing a body-centered practice so you can be kind to your body. And I found also that when I'm kind to my body, it also helps me be kinder to others, so that can be an added bonus. So we'll start off the practice in a comfortable seat. Cross-legged tends to work best if that's accessible to you. And then begin by initiating some circles from your pelvis. So you can begin pretty narrow, and then gradually, as you get the feel for it, start to widen them out. So the rib cage draws forward and around the back. You could also get your shoulders involved if there's not a cat in the way. Dipping one shoulder and then the other in towards the front as you go. And perhaps you also want to get your head and neck involved by circling the head around the neck. It doesn't have to be abrupt, but see if you can find some place in your next circle or two to switch the direction that you're circling. And gradually start to wind your circles in so they get more and more upright with each round. Pausing towards the back. See if you can interlace your fingers, flip palms to face forward, and then take a deep breath in as you sweep arms up overhead. Exhale to bring palms behind your head and start to circle through the elbows and the shoulders by extension. Pausing at the back of your neck circle, stretch elbows back behind you, opening up the chest, opening up the armpits, the front of the shoulders. See if you can use your breath to expand those areas a little bit more. So when you inhale, expanding the ribs out wide, pushing the armpits out, as well as the muscles and the skin under your collarbones at the top of the chest. Releasing arms out wide, you can bring arms down so you've got about a 45-degree angle at the armpit. Palms shine forward. And then see if you can draw the back of your hands back behind you to help open up the chest. Maybe finding a little shoulder roll if shoulders crept up towards the ears to settle them down and back. Again, a few breaths here, opening up the chest. And starting to spiral your thumbs towards the front until palms face behind you. Then bring your palms together, interlacing fingers, and stretch your knuckles down towards the ground behind you, lifting your chest up towards the sky. Shoulders rolling down and back. And perhaps, if it's comfortable in the back of your neck, you could also tilt your head backwards, chin towards the sky. Finding a little tuck of your core and drawing head back upright. Use your core to lift off the knuckles and circle arms out wide and up overhead. Exhaling to bring your hands to the center of your heart, and then crossing one arm across your chest so you can keep shoulders relaxed and stretch out the outside of the shoulder. Releasing that arm, stretching out the arms. And from From here, releasing one hand to the ground beside you, and sweep the other arm up and over towards that side, reaching out, stretching out that side body. And then flipping that top palm, pressing into the bottom hand to rise up and over to the opposite side. Again, reaching out through the fingertips, stretching the side body. You might notice that the knee on the same side of the arm that's stretching tries to lift up, so you can keep that directed towards the ground. And here, perhaps directing your breath into that outside edge of the rib cage that's facing up towards the sky. So even expanding the side body with your breath. Flipping the top palm, pressing into the bottom hand to rise back upright. And then once more, interlacing hands, flip palms forward, deep breath in to stretch up. And exhale to release the clasp of the hands, bring hands out in front of you, rolling over your shins to all fours. See if you can stack your shoulders over your wrists, and then your hips over your knees. With a breath in, draw your heart forward, slight dip in the spine. And with a breath out, drawing your navel up and in towards the sky, rounding up through your back like a Halloween cat. A breath in to draw heart forward, shoulders roll down the back, broadening out across collarbones. And exhale to round up through the back. One more time, inhaling, drawing heart forward, broadening out. And exhale to round it up. Settling back into a neutral spine on all fours. And then gently moving any pets out of the way. Walking hands maybe about one hand length forward. And then shifting the hips forward, engaging the core. See if you can find a straight-ish line from the back of the knees to the crown of the head. And then bending elbows straight back, core still engaged to keep that straight-ish line. Lowering your chest all the way down. From here, you'll bring one elbow out, arm bent at 90 degrees, and try and get that elbow level with the shoulder. Then with the opposite palm planted under the shoulder, you'll gently press into that palm to roll over and open up the side of the chest of the bent arm. Unrolling back to the center, just switching out the arms. Opposite arm comes out, bent at 90 degrees. Again, elbow level with that shoulder. One palm under the shoulder, pressing into that palm to open up the other shoulder. And see if you can relax the head as much as possible here. And if there's any discomfort in the shoulder, don't settle into pain, back out a little bit, but if it's discomfort, see if you can breathe and sit with it. Unrolling back to the center, bringing both palms under the shoulders. Then engaging the core to press up and draw hips back towards heels for a child's pose. Relaxing your forehead towards the ground. The torso can fall between slightly wide legs. You could also bring the legs closer together, whichever is more comfortable. Arms stretched out in front, forehead to the mat, and simply breathing here. Seeing if you can focus on each breath, pushing out each and every curve of the lungs, and following each exhale back out your nose or mouth. inhaling to expand out every side of the lungs. And exhaling to empty out that air, creating space for fresh new air. One more full inhale and full exhale here. With your next inhale, rising back up to all fours. And then tucking toes and drawing hips up and back, so you're in a triangle shape for downward facing dog. Once you arrive there, perhaps bending into one knee and then the other to wake up the backs of the legs. Settling into a still down dog for at least a breath. On an inhale, start to walk feet up towards the hands. And with a generous bend in the knees, you could hug opposite elbows, and then alternate between bringing a little bit more generous bend into one knee and then the other, and continuing to wake up the backs of the legs. Starting to still the legs, and then drawing your belly in towards your spine, hugging the core in. So you can lift your back till it's close to parallel with the ground. And then keeping that core engagement, rising all the way up to stand, perhaps stretching arms up overhead. Maybe even trying out a mini back bend at the top. And exhaling with a straight spine, drawing hands to heart center. Starting to shift the weight into your left leg to start off with. You can kind of kickstand the right toes. Perhaps stay right there if you want to balance, drawing that right knee up and in towards your chest. Rolling shoulders down and back to help keep the chest open. Then releasing left hand to left hip and opening that right leg out wide. Drawing the knee back in towards the center, we'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh and start to sit the hips back for figure four, stretching out the outer right thigh. Perhaps bringing hands to heart center. And if you're having trouble balancing, it can help to focus on one point on the ground. Slowly pressing into that standing foot to rise back up to stand. You can bring that knee in for a brief little hug. And then start to press that foot back behind you for crescent pose. Finding a deep bend in the front knee stacks over the ankle. And then arms can reach overhead, trying to straighten that back leg as much as you can. Lowering down on that back knee, take hold of the right wrist. You can untuck the back toes and then reach that right hand up and over towards the left side to stretch out the left side body. Breath in to come back to the center, releasing the wrist. And then exhale to open your arms wide, keeping a little tuck of the core to protect the low back. With the arms wide, opening your heart towards the sky. Inhale to press hands back skyward. Exhale to bring palms down, tuck back toes, lift off that knee. And step forward to fold. Inhale to draw your navel in again, lifting the back till it's close to parallel with the ground. And rising all the way up to stand. exhaling, hands to heart center. And then shifting weight into the left leg this time, the right leg this time. We'll bring the left knee up and in. Shoulders roll down and back. Core hugs in. And just squeezing that knee in, practicing balancing. Or you could also keep the toes kickstanded on the ground. Releasing right hand to right hip. Start to open up that left knee towards the side. And then drawing that knee back in towards the center. We'll cross left ankle over right thigh, sitting it back for figure four. Rising back up to stand. Drawing that knee back in, giving it one final squeeze. And then starting to press that sole of the foot back behind you for crescent. Lowering down on that back knee, taking hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Reaching up and over towards the right to stretch out the left side body. Breath in, rise back to the center. And exhale to open arms wide, opening your heart towards the sky. Inhale to press hands back skyward. Exhale brings palms to the ground, tucking back toes, lifting off that knee. And see if you can use your core to step the right foot back. Finding your way back to down dog. With your next inhale, walking feet up to meet the hands. And then just bending the knees deeply, sitting back, and making your way down to your back. Planting the feet so they're hips width distance apart, so right in line with the hips, and close enough so you can almost tickle the heels with your fingertips. Moving to some flowing bridges, so with the breath in, lifting the hips, circling arms up overhead. With the breath out, lowering the hips and reversing the arms so they touch down beside the hips. Inhale, lifts hips, circles arms overhead until wrists touch down on the floor behind you or overhead. And exhale to lower hips and lower palms. One more time, inhaling to lift hips, circling arms overhead. And this time, keeping hands lifted, circling arms so hands can interlace underneath you. You can walk one shoulder and then the other underneath. With hands interlaced just under the tailbone, continuing to lift the hips for a more static bridge. Noticing if the knees tend to splay out wide, try and keep them tracking in line with the hips. And exhale, slowly lowering hips down. And then bringing soles of the feet together, knees can fall out wide. One hand to rest on the heart and one on the belly. Perhaps softly closing your eyes. And then feeling your breath moving through you, lifting the hands. Remaining here if you have the time, or perhaps starting to transition back to an upright seat. and back into your day.